We're sitting here with Todd Friedman. He is the writer-producer of Last Shot. And Todd, what was the motivation behind writing this script, and how long was it in development? Just take us through the pathway of like script to screen.
Yeah, so the motivation for writing this movie was, I mean, it's a club basketball drama. I have been a club basketball dad for 10 years now. My oldest son is a high school basketball player now. And I used to be that annoying drunk dad in the stands, getting kicked out, screaming at referees, embarrassing my family. I'm sober now, so it was sort of a personal story that I wrote about my relationship with my oldest son. And my youngest son actually gets to play my oldest son in the movie, which is pretty cool. So that was really the reason why I wrote it. And development-wise, I mean, I started writing it about 5 years ago, and it kind of just flew off the pen, or the proverbial pen, so to speak. It was a very personal story, so it was really easy to write.
And so you have your son Dylan playing the character of your older son. Talk to me about balancing being a producer on a film, also being the father of the lead actor, and also the writer of the film. Like, on set, how do you square those three things, and how do you bounce between those three roles?
Balancing between being like the producer, the stage dad, and the writer, it wasn't that difficult. I mean, I kind of just let you kind of handle just Dylan, you know? I would never want to interfere, and just I want him to be the best actor he can be, and that certainly would not involve me stepping in, giving any direction, just letting him learn how to be an actor, whether it was learning from you, Jaime, Michael. I mean, everyone was just so instrumental in that. Same thing with the writer. I mean, this is the third movie I've written that Hemlock has produced, and I've come to learn as a writer, you know, anytime you write a script, whether it gets picked up or not, changes are going to be made. And as the producer, I mean, I just sat there and looked pretty and let you guys, you know, kick, you know what, it was awesome.
There was a particular scene, it's a confrontational scene in the hallway where Dylan, who plays Caden, and Jaime, who plays Lexi, they have it out. And it was probably the most dramatic scene in the film. How did you feel though as a father, and how did life imitate art, or art imitate life in that scene, that Jaime was, as I recall, very hard on Dylan as an actor and stuff like that? And was that hard to watch as a parent versus being able to be like, hey, this is all for the good of the movie and it's going to make him a better actor?
Yeah, so during that dramatic scene in the hallway, I mean, look, at the end of the day, Jaime Pressly took my son and raised his acting ability, you know, tenfold. She was extremely hard on him, and he loved it, and I loved it. She taught him how to be an actor, and you can't buy that type of knowledge. She really took it upon herself to really show him, you know, how to act, and it was tough love, but it was also it's exactly what he needed, and he appreciated it, and I appreciated it. And she's tremendous, you know, on and off camera, and it was perfect.
Leapfrogging off that and talking about her as an actor, you worked with her on the re-education of Molly Singer, a movie you did a few years ago, and it's a comedic role, something that she, you know, people easily think of Jaime in a really comedic role. What made you think that she was perfect for this more dramatic and dark character?
You know, I had worked with Jaime previously on Re-Education of Molly Singer, and she was great in that movie. I actually only met her for like an hour. You know, she kind of went right in and out of town, and you know, she did such a good job in that film. But there were a couple of moments in Molly Singer where she had these tender moments with her son. You know, he was much older, you know, in that picture, but there's a bunch of tender moments with her and her son in that movie, and it made me think she could definitely do something like this, and she ended up crushing the role.
So Michael Rapaport plays the father, Darren. Talk to me a little bit about those particular scenes, especially the opening scene of the movie, where you see him sort of unraveling in the midst of this game. always coming from a very positive place in terms of he wants the best for his son, but the way he goes about handling himself is not the best. How did that, what did that strike in you when you were watching it play out?
Watching Michael Rapaport, who was like perfect for this role. I mean, you think of, you know, loud, obnoxious basketball. He's a big Knicks fan, you know. He's always online, you know, talking a lot of smack. So he was like perfect for the role, and it definitely brought back a lot of memories, both good and bad. How he was, you know, in the film, you know, wasn't even close to how bad sometimes I was in those stands, you know, back in the day. I mean, club basketball, that whole world is nuts. I mean, I think club sports in general, I mean, you see online videos, these parents are going crazy, you know, yelling at the refs, yelling at their kids. So it's sort of like a microcosm to what you really see today, you know, how he acted in that first, you know, scene.
Right.
And that first scene just sets the tone for the entire movie.
In terms of the basketball, you know, it was an independent film. It was a tight shooting schedule and stuff like that. What struck you when you got to see that first cut? Were you worried about how the basketball was going to be portrayed, and did it kind of accurately represent what club basketball feels like, looks like?
Yeah, so regarding the basketball, you know, you and I had extensive conversations about this. The entire pre-production, all I could really think about is, how are we going to be able to, first of all, get hundreds of basketball players and really show, you know, all these different teams, and like, how are we going to be able to get enough bodies on camera to be able to really illustrate what these club basketball tournaments are like? And that was like my biggest worry, more than the acting, budget, more than anything. I really wanted it to be as real as possible. And when we got to Birmingham, we got extremely lucky because we got introduced to the head of Birmingham basketball, and we got to meet a bunch of the parents. And, you know, just having shot 3 movies in Birmingham and meeting all these people, like, we sort of had that infrastructure in place where the next thing you know, hundreds of kids started showing up as extras. And really, you know, they probably thought they were coming to play a couple plays or something like that. They ended up staying like 5-6 hours, you know, over and over again, running these scenes, really learning what being on a movie set is like. They probably weren't expecting it, but it just came together like beautifully.
We bridged both the basketball and the acting world with the casting of Baron Davis as the coach of Caden's new team. Talk to me about that the first scene with Baron when he comes in the gym, and sort of the series of events that followed as soon as he saw our actors who were trying to play basketball players. Like, what happened? Just describe that day for me.
Yeah, so Baron's first day was chaotic because, you know, we had a basketball supervisor, you know, my good friend George Roberson, who did an extremely awesome job. He's been training all of my kids, you know, and he's got his own daughter who's gonna probably be playing college basketball someday. So we hired him to come down and be like our basketball coordinator. And then Baron comes in and he sees some of the plays that are running, and obviously he's a NBA player, you know, umpteen-time all-star. So then he started having his own opinions, and they started having conversations, and then potentially butting heads. I'm like, oh my God. I thought it was gonna be like just a cluster. But, you know, look, at the end of the day, after just conversations, it ended up working out, and we ended up having like a good flow. But that first day was a little chaotic for sure, and worrisome.
I noticed that Baron sort of naturally took on the role of a coach, and, you know, in a lot of ways even improved upon the dialogue and the script and stuff like that, and took it upon himself. When you watch the cut with him, how important is that authenticity to you, that you have this person that knows this world and the basketball that well, that it comes across in the film?
Yeah, so Baron playing a coach, you know, there are a bunch of ways we could have gone for that role. We could have gone just for a straight up actor who hadn't really been a player before, but having someone who's got both playing experience, coaching experience, and who's also now a coach for his own kids, you know, it elevated that role that much more. And, you know, he was able to ad lib, he was able to go off script. And because of that, it really shows up as authentic.
So we are celebrating being the opening night film of the Dallas Film Festival. Do you know what year it was? You know, is it the 20th?
We're going to be 20th. This is going to be the 20th anniversary.
So this is the 20th anniversary of the Dallas Film Festival. You recently just found out that Last Shot is going to be the opening night film. Talk to me about the excitement built around a premiere like that, and how all that hard work that you put in, not only writing, producing, in the editing room and everything like that, sort of makes this moment feel full circle.
I mean, I'm going to be honest with you. You know, Hemlock Circle, my production company, this is like our 9th movie. We haven't exactly had the best of luck getting into festivals. With the exception of your movie, Last Shot, this is like the 7th festival we got into, but Dallas was the biggest for us. I mean, and then when they told us a few days ago that we're going to be opening, it's like I feel like I'm living in a dream that I haven't woken up from yet. We are going to do our best to, you know, fill those seats and make them proud for selecting this film. I can tell you that. You know, Dylan was actually saying, well, maybe we can still get into Tribeca, maybe we can get in all these other festivals. I'm like, even if we got into those other festivals that you might think might have a bigger name, which Dallas is still pretty big, the fact that we are opening at Dallas, like, who cares? We're opening at Dallas. Don't even worry about anything but this festival, and just be grateful and happy that we're getting the recognition that I do believe the movie deserves, but very grateful.
So for anybody out there who is starting out producing their own films, writing their own films, as someone that started in one career and segued to another, you know, what advice do you have for people who are starting their career or thinking like, I'm going to follow my dream in this sort of second chapter of my career? How has that been for you?
Starting this, you know, I have been wanting to be a writer for forever. And when it didn't work out the first go around and I had to start getting serious about, you know, raising a family, putting food on the table, it's just tremendous knowing that I'm still able to pursue that dream while, you know, having a day job. And that's what's great about, you know, being a creative. You know, anybody can do that. You don't have to just assume that you are set for one path your entire life. You just keep on working at it. If you're a writer, you keep on writing. If you're a director, you keep on making short films, and you never know.
Any ambition to get behind the camera and direct at some point?
I have no ambition to be a director. First off, I watch you and I watch everyone else do it, and I don't have the skill set for it. I don't have the patience for it. It really takes a unique skill set to be a director, and I just don't have that. I like being a producer. I like putting myself in like 2-minute roles in my films, the little
right.
Todd Phillips cameos. I love writing. I wish I had more time to do it, but definitely don't see myself ever being a director.
In this role, your cameo is of an opposing basketball coach. How much did you prepare for this role, or did we just throw you in the day of?
I think you threw me in the day of because I thought I was playing one coach. You know, you're going to play the other coach, right? And it was great. I got to yell at the kids and I got to complain. I got to throw my hands up. When it was time to hold Michael Rapaport back from, you know, killing the kid who took Dylan out on the floor, I got to do that. That was like my favorite day of the whole experience.
Traditionally, we always sort of beat you up in the movies that you cameo in. How is this one different? You didn't get smacked around at all.
Yeah, so you do traditionally kick me around a little bit. In Collection, you threw a glass on my head. Molly Singer, I got slapped by Nico Santos like 45 takes. And this, you know, I still got roughed up a little bit trying to hold Michael back. I still got my steps in for sure, but that's fun. Beat me up, that's what I'm here for.